What a year. We are sitting down with Christina Najjar, aka Tinx, exactly 1 year from when we did from last season. You might remember her from Cozying Up Season 1. And in this one crazy year, she has blown up as one of TikTok's #1 content creators. We sit down and she really tells us how she has found her authentic, true self and how that has led to her amazing success. I hope you guys enjoy. Welcome to Cozying Up with a Clear Cut, where we get up close and personal with women that inspire us. Today we are sitting down with Christina Najjar, aka Tinx. She is coming back. We literally sat together exactly 1 year ago, and a year ago today you were a fashion and wellness journalist reporting on like celebrities, and now you are one of the most recognizable TikTok content creators.
It's been a crazy year.
It has been such a crazy year. So, I mean, so much has changed since we last saw you. Tell me a little bit about, how your journey this past year. Like, how did this happen?
Yeah, it's been a really crazy year, obviously, for everybody. The world's changed a lot. But for me personally, I mean, lockdown hit and I was depressed. I was talking to the walls. I was talking to my Amazon Alexa. No one was really wanting articles. A lot of the clients that I consulted for were going out of business, and I was kind of at the end of my rope. And for me, whenever I get sad or, whenever the thing that brings me the most joy in life is creating, specifically creating to make people laugh or entertain them. And I was finding TikTok so fun and enjoyable as a consumer that I was like, you know what? I have nothing to lose. I'm gonna just start being myself on TikTok and see how it goes. And now when I think about it, I kind of view TikTok as like mini journalism. It's you have 1 minute to get a point across, or you have 1 minute to make people laugh. So I approach it in a similar way to how I used to write articles and how I still write articles. I'm like, what do people want to read? What do they want to know? How can I make them laugh? And it just sort of snowballed from there in the best way possible. And now I'm creating content full time, which has honestly been a lifelong dream. So I feel really lucky, despite it being a pretty shit year for everybody in the world.
Yeah, I mean, as like a young child, like what did you want to be when you were like aspiring when you grow up, and what would you like tell your younger self now?
I always loved writing. I was always reading and writing and telling stories and making up characters, and I always was doing something in my room creative, and the one thing that I would tell myself is stop worrying. I was thinking about this on the way over. I'm 30 now, and I think so much of our culture is about being successful so young, and like if you don't make it by 24, your life is over and whatever. Yeah. I would say, trust the process and stop worrying so much, because it really does work out if you just keep working hard and being nice to people, and it's okay if you don't find your passion like right out of school.
Yeah. And I think that, content creating came like so naturally to you. Like even before TikTok, I remember watching your Instagram stories and literally like laughing out loud. And I think like influencers traditionally were always so like manufactured and kind of like really trying to put this picture perfect like facade forward. And I think you're a really great demonstration of how like authenticity really draws people in. What do you think about, this next generation of like influencer?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting because I didn't move to LA to become famous, and so in a way I did it from kind of a bottoms up route versus a top down. And I literally started creating content when I was at the lowest point, like depressed, in lockdown, wearing sweatpants, and but that's what resonated with people actually. And I think that, even before COVID, even before the lockdown, I think you're absolutely right. I think people people are getting a little bit tired of the overly manufactured, super perfect. I mean, that's like, it's fun to look at for a while, and then it just kind of makes you feel bad about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So I do feel like there is a new wave of content creators, influencers, bloggers who are a lot more real and make people feel like less weird. That's one of the main filters with the videos I put out and the Instagram stories I put out. I'm like, am I making people laugh? Am I making them people feel less alone and less weird, or am I giving them a really good recommendation or something that I love? Those are kind of the filters that I'm like, if it's not one of these things, then what am I even saying?
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I think people are like so drawn to, I mean, I found myself the other day literally drinking out of that cup, wearing slippers and those like leggings, and I was like, what happened to me? Like, I'm not even easily influenced to buy things, but I think it's because you can tell that those are things like that you actually
Yeah.
use yourself, and it's not something that you're like paid to promote, which most influencers are doing.
Yeah, I think also like because I didn't set out to do this, I've been really honest with all my followers from day one, and I will continue to be, where I'm explaining to them like, okay, guys, if I say that I like something, first and foremost, I'll always be honest.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm being paid for something, I scream it. I'm like, I'm being paid for this, so just telling you. But I've been actually really lucky to work with brands that I love. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, if I love something, and I've always been this way, I want people to know. I will shout it from the rooftops. Like in college, everybody used to joke and be like, oh, you're the brand ambassador of this, you're the brand ambassador of that. Because if I love something, I literally will not shut the fuck up about it. So I think that has just been a really nice, it's been a really nice way for me to connect with people. And if I love something, I want everybody else to have it and love it too. So it's been fun.
What has been something that you've like learned over the past year from this whole experience?
Gosh, so much. I don't know. So much of what I've learned sounds really cheesy,
That's fine.
but honestly, being myself, and just accepting who I am has been the most instrumental factor in my recent career change and moderate success. I mean, I'm not, I'm not saying I've done anything crazy, but it was when I stopped trying to be someone I thought I should be, and when I stopped trying to change myself, that everything kind of fell into place. And it's such annoying advice to give or whatever, because it's like, how do you really do that? But it takes time, and it takes working on yourself and sitting with yourself and being and loving yourself. Again, so cheesy, but that was really the big thing that I learned. Like, okay, people like me for me. They don't like me 10 pounds thinner. They don't like me if I'm trying to be this or that. They like me when I'm being myself. So again, going back to what I would tell myself when I was younger, I would say, strip everything away and just, what are you most comfortable doing? What are you most happy doing? Lean into those things.
I think like for a lot of people, it takes a lot of courage to put themselves out there as
Mm-hmm.
their most authentic self. Even if people want to like present who they truly are, they're scared of like judgment or
Mm-hmm.
ridicule, especially like on these social media profiles like TikTok. Like people can be cruel in the
Oh yeah.
comments. So I
Oh,
mean, what do you say to people who are a little bit scared of judgment?
I'd say, listen, you can be the juiciest, ripest peach, and there's always going to be someone who doesn't like peaches. And I'm totally still working on that. I mean, I have had times where I've been so upset by comments and judgment. I mean, just over before Christmas, I had a really mean comment that like undid me for a couple days. I was just like crying, but for me, the way that I deal with that is like I share it with my followers, and I'm like, guys, I'm so upset this happened, and that's like nice to have that level of honesty with them. But yeah, there's always going to be people who judge you, but you got to shoot your shot. You have to play to win.
And I think like the amazing community you've built is probably outweighs like the troll or two.
Yeah, and if I can lead by example, and if I can get through, whatever wobbly I'm having, and then tell people how I did it, then that's helping, and that's like what I aim to do and what I want to do. So, um, yeah, there's always going to be. But the other thing is though, when people judge you or when people take the time out of their day to write a mean comment, it's again cliche. You have to know that they're hurting. You
Yeah.
have to know that they're going through something, and they're like, and then 99% of the time, in fact, 100% of the time, you click on their profile, the person who's judging you or saying something mean, and they're like a total troll. They have nothing out there. And one thing that I say to people when they ask, like, oh, I want to make content, but I'm scared. I'm like, the people who judge you are not putting out content. You will never find a content creator who's happy and in their power, like putting another content creator down ever. Because it's always the people who are trolls sitting in their mom's basement, too afraid to put anything out themselves, who write the mean comment and judge you.
Yeah, it's cliche, but they say like hurt people hurt people.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. All the other content creators on the apps, big or small, are like, yes, you go, like supporting you. Like those are the people, like creative people support creative people. That's just how it goes.
And they also understand like what goes into creating the content. So
yeah, that's a good point.
What do you find yourself like constantly like stressing? Like how do you prepare? I mean, in particular, I love like your rich mom segment, and I was sitting on the couch like watching it yesterday, laughing out loud. The Miami one, I'm from Miami. I was like, how does she know all of these details? Like, do you research this? Like, how's it always so good?
So for some of them, I will ask friends like where, what's the cool coffee shop there or whatever. But I love it. Another cliche. I'm just serving cliches today, but
That's fine.
They said, if you find something you love, you'll never work a day in your life. And now that I'm doing content creation, I truly don't feel like I'm working. I love it so much. I feel I don't get stressed at all. I absolutely love it. I mean, sometimes my friends want to kill me because I'm like, wait, I have to film this and I have to film that and I have to do that. But I love it. I'm obsessed. And, one thing that I do that's really helpful if you're trying to get into content creation or if you're a writer, I wake up and I free write. And most of the time, the thing that I'll free write in the morning is a rich mom profile. I just wake up and I'm like, oh, like these characters just come to my head and I'm just like, whatever. But that's kind of just the way my brain has always worked. I've always thought of like, characters and memes. I think last year when we did this podcast, I was creating a lot of custom memes for people. That's just the way my brain works. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't stress me out at all. I love it. But I am always creating, like, and people think they see the end product and they're like, oh, like the cute little 1 minute TikTok video. And I'm like, no, that took me like 4 hours to make. Like, you don't understand.
I mean, I've like tried to do like 2 vlogs and it takes so long to like talk over. I'm like, I can't do this.
Yeah. It's like, there's a lot of narrative. You have to kind of think about, you kind of always have to be living in the present, but also the future and thinking like, how is this tying in? Like, what do they care about? Like, I'm always thinking about my followers. Like, what do they want to see? Like, what do they care about? Like, what did they ask me for? Like, what do they want more of? What do they want less of? So that's kind of how I think of things. And now I do start to think about my life in TikToks. I was saying on Instagram, like yesterday, I was, I haven't been home to England in, 14 months. And I was thinking about the TikTok I'm going to make when I go home. And it's going to be such a good TikTok. Emotional, a tearjerker, but I am really excited for that.
When do you think you're going to go home next?
I pray soon. When everybody gets vaccinated. But,
yeah.
My parents are over there. So I really can't wait to see them, and I just can't wait to be home again. So hopefully, I'm hoping this summer. That's what I'm feeling. So
yeah.
We'll see. Mm-hmm.
With all these great things happening, it'd be nice to like share them with the people that you love.
For sure. I mean, they think it's like they're obviously so proud of me, and it would just be nice to see them and talk about it in person. So.
Hey everyone, Olivia here. Hope you're enjoying our episode. Our Clear Cut collection features fine jewelry pieces inspired and designed with you in mind. Our collection is ever-changing and each piece is handmade and made to order here in New York City. Don't forget to check it out and use the code COZY, COZY, for free shipping on any purchase.
Do you think TikTok, without this specific platform, that you would have been able to create the content and kind of blow up the way that you did? What do you think is unique about this particular platform?
I owe everything to TikTok. I think it's an amazing platform. I think it's one of the most inclusive, supportive platforms out there. Mm-hmm. There's so many sub communities that are just absolutely incredible. no, I definitely wouldn't have been able to blow up because I never considered putting my face out there. Like I was always a content creator. I was always writing. I was always consulting on other people's content, but I never thought I should do it myself. So I owe everything to TikTok. I am grateful for it every day. That being said, I now am able to create content in other forums, and I have big hopes and dreams that are off TikTok, but it will always be like my baby and my sweetheart. I love it. It gave me everything, and it's the most fun app. I mean, it's actually the most addictive thing.
Yeah, it's so addictive.
And it's so easy to use. There's such a low barrier to entry. It's a great place to start if you want to try vlogging or if you want to try, reviews or something like that. It's so easy.
And I think unlike like Instagram or other platforms, there's like a lot of pay to play. Like on TikTok, you can just create content and people will see it if it's good.
Yeah.
And that doesn't really happen on other platforms anymore.
Completely. I mean, I think like if you are a new content creator or if you want to like start creating content, it's very daunting to go into Instagram. I mean, everybody has like 10 million followers and everything's perfect and edited. TikTok, if you create, I always say this to people, if you have something funny and you put it out there, whether it's your first TikTok or your 79th, you have an equal shot of it getting on the For You page and blowing up. And that is what's so incredible. Yes, there are amazing popular creators now, of course, but if your video is funny,
it's not too late.
It's not, there's no. And what I like about it is it's less profile centric and it's more content centric. Mm-hmm. On Instagram, it's like, what does your grid look like? Like, how many followers do you have? What's your ratio of followers to blah. TikTok is like the video is in front of you. Do you find it funny or do you not find it funny? And that's all. You have like 60 seconds to win people over, which is really egalitarian when you think about it.
Yeah, I love that. And even when I like will post a TikTok, I feel like a lot less pressure than on Instagram. It's like, what was my last post? It's gonna look next to this
exactly.
one. Can you name a time or an instance where like someone didn't believe in you or you faced some rejection, and what did you learn from that?
Oh my God, so many people. I mean, I've been rejected from so many jobs and just been so bad at so many jobs that I just did a series of TikToks really charting my path, and I had forgotten how many twists and turns my 20s have had career-wise. Mm-hmm. But there were so many jobs that I was just so bad at, and people were like, I don't think you're going to, amount to anything, or this is not the right thing for you, and that can be so demoralizing.
Because you started in fashion industry, right?
I started in fashion industry. I started at Gap Inc. and I was awful at that job, and I was there for 3 years just like being shit at my job and having people be like, oh, you did that wrong again, or you did that wrong again. And you just have to keep going and not give up and try something different. God, when I was living in New York, I had a tough time sometimes I remember there was weeks at a time where I'd pitch and I would get no articles, or people would say, this isn't funny. And now I go back to those old pitches and I turn them into TikToks. Mm-hmm. Really seriously, I mean that. And that everything's comes back around. And brands that I used to pitch or want to work with are now coming to me to work with me. And that's not to say, haha, now I'm the powerful one at all. It's just like,
if it's full circle.
Everything comes full circle. Be nice to people and work hard, and just focus on yourself. If someone's rejecting you, redirection is what is it? Rejection is redirection. Mm. It truly is. Like, you can't think, oh, I'm bad at everything. Like, you just think, this is not the right thing for me, and you just keep going. Yeah,
and you learn from your rejection. I think it's weird over this past year too, and now that I'm turning 30 next week, I'm like, oh, I'm so like old and wise, and I can reflect back on, my 20s. And I actually do feel like I've learned a lot, and I live in like these cliches too, where it's like all about like focusing, being a good person, and manifesting, which I'm into.
Totally. I do feel everyone was like, ooh, were you scared to turn 30? I will be honest, I feel like my life began at 30. Like, not that I didn't have super valuable and fun experiences before, but I think as women especially, we can spend a lot of our 20s hating ourselves, or being unsure of ourselves, or having imposter syndrome. And not like the day of my 30th birthday, but the whole like last year, everything fell into place for me. So, I do feel older and wiser. I do feel in a good position to give advice. And because I'm finally like settled in myself. And now I'm like, okay, now I'm rolling up my sleeves and I'm going to build because now I know who I am.
Yeah, that's awesome. So on that note, what do you see for the future?
Oh
Like,
my
what are your
gosh.
dreams and aspirations?
I have so many. I want to keep creating content on every platform and scale it. I would love to do more hosting and presenting. That's something that I'm kind of getting into a little bit, and I
Oh, you'd be so
absolutely
good at
love.
that.
Thank you. I see a book or two in my future, and
I see like a television series in your future.
I hope so. We've got a lot of fun stuff in the pipeline. So this year is hopefully going to be really, really exciting. So I can't wait. But first and foremost, what makes me happy is content, is creation. And that's like how I know I'm doing the right thing, is that I always used to think, oh, I want to be super rich and I want to be famous. And don't get me wrong, I want to be rich and famous. But
we want to be rich moms.
We want to be a rich mom, exactly. But now I'm like, that kind of stuff fades to the background. What's important to me is a comment saying, this made me laugh out loud, or like a DM saying, you made me feel way less weird today because of what you said, or, oh, you motivated me to do this, or, wow, I got the cup and I literally haven't put it down, which I get that DM 10 times a day and it does not get old.
Yeah.
So being close to my followers and continuing to like surprise and delight them, that's what I care about the most.
I mean, from a personal perspective, like when we were in lockdown and quarantine, I remember messaging you. I was like, oh my God, your TikToks are literally getting me through whatever shitty day I'm having. Like, they were amazing. And I think that's probably why people like resonate with you and follow you, and you build such an amazing community.
Thank you. That's so kind. And that's definitely what I do it for. I mean, I every nice comment or DM is just so motivating to me, and that's what I do it for. That's like the best feeling in the world. So it's nice to hear. Thank you.
Of course. Well, I want to play a fun little game with the diamonds. So we have 3 diamond rings out here, all some of our most popular like styles and shapes.
I can see why. I mean, I haven't taken this one off the whole time.
She's been wearing the 5-carat cushion the whole interview.
It feels really nice. It feels rich mom vibes all the way.
It looks very good on you.
Should I say which rich mom?
Well, yeah, I'd love to know. You know, they're all very popular. They're all really beautiful. But, you know, the first article that I ever wrote and got picked up, it was like by Vogue, and it was like, which diamond shape reflects what personality? And I'd love to hear, you know, your thoughts on that.
Okay, so this is, I think this suits someone named Tinx. No, I'm just kidding. This is like fun to me, classic. It's classic but fun. I like how simple it is. It's sexy. I mean, I love how it looks on the finger. To me, this is like rich Tribeca mom, maybe like a rich Malibu mom. She's cool. She's fun. She has a good time. But, you know, has family values as well. So that's that one.
So that was the 5-carat cushion cut in the super skinny yellow gold band with hidden halo.
This one, I feel like this is Upper East Side rich mom, perhaps Palisades rich mom if you need a LA counterpart. She drives a BMW. She's into horse riding also. Loves a cold Sancerre on a summer's day.
That's the 4-carat oval in the pave band. And this one's the 5-carat emerald cut with tapered baguettes.
Gosh, this one, I don't know. I feel like she is kind of hip and cool. West Village rich mom, perhaps Silver Lake rich mom. You know, she's low key, but like obviously super fabulous. She wears this gobsmacked ring with like those fuzzy Birkenstock slides and an oversized sweater, drinking her matcha latte, oat milk, of course. So beautiful.
Perfect. Oh my God, that was awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
But you're more the Tribeca rich mom.
That's my one, yeah.
Yeah. What's like one fun skill that you have picked up during COVID that you are going to take with you for the rest of your life?
I mean, TikTok. TikTok. Editing TikToks has really become my pastime, yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for coming on. This
Thank
was
you.
so fun to catch up a year later. So much has
fun.
changed,
I
and
know.
just wishing you the best for the future.
Thank you so much.
see
You
big
guys
things.
also. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. I hope you loved Tinx's story. You can follow her at Tinx on TikTok and It's Me Tinx on Instagram. And of course, follow us for all your diamond sparkle jewelry needs at The Clear Cut. Also, guys, I'm just like so curious. Comment below, what rich mom are you? I don't know which one I am. I aspire to be the West Village rich mom, but I really think that I'm more like Upper West Side.